laiguana.tv.
Las retóricas vacías y contradictorias imperan y seguirán imperando en esta guerra.
It's very easy to see that the NATO has a very big problem with their narrative. Now, from the beginning of the Russian military intervention and escalation of the Ukrainian civil war to the scale where it is today, the globalist governments, the socialist, so-called socialist governments, have had quite strong backing together with the mainstream media propaganda, the NATO agenda, and the turn to public support for arming Ukraine, waging a war to the last Ukrainian as they are doing right now. But the problem is that the narrative is lost because the truth is not in their side. So the socialist government is facing a widening pressure, especially now when the real consequences of the conflict in Ukraine is starting to take place, like losing heating, losing energy supplies, facing a terrible inflation. People are asking hard questions. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And more, these globalists who have go to this NATO agenda with strong belief that it's a good thing. They are starting to make questions more and more. So the problem is that these globalist governments are in a very weakening position. Only ones who are blindly following this NATO agenda are the nationalists, the extremist elements of the nationalists, because they don't listen any common sense. It's always impossible to talk with the people which extremist beliefs. And in here, the NATO steps in, because arming the extremist militants gives them a possibility to raise a weapon to the head of the Western governments, the socialist, globalist governments, that if you don't follow our rule, our agenda, our narrative, no matter what, if you start to make steps back in the pro-Ukraine agenda, we will raise these nationalists to challenge your government. And we will start to destabilize your countries. And you will see the consequences of that. So in the Operation Gladio, they used communist militants. Now they are using nationalist militants. And they can be very useful for the multinational power in order to keep local governments in control, because they are fearing for their lives, actually, that if they doesn't keep strong support for Ukraine, if they are not yelling Slava Ukraina in every second word, then these nationalists will make a physical revenge in their own home countries. And this is very useful for the intelligence services to operate against legal governments. And of course, as we saw in the Ukraine in 2014, these militants can be used to overthrow governments. And if the socialist government, like places like in Norway, Finland or other, are seriously losing their momentum in order to keep the NATO agenda, they can make a coup. And they have the weapons and troops to do it.
laiguana.tv. La verdad